Dragon X9 compound bow review. In this video, I'm going to go over the new Sanlita Dragon X9 compound bow. I'm going to shoot it at 31-inch draw length all the way down to 24-inch draw length through the chronograph so we can see what kind of speed we get at each draw length. I'm going to shoot a 350 grain arrow for all of the testing so that we have a consistent comparison. I also want to mention this bow just came out, and I'm holding one of the first ones that has hit the United States market. Now, the arrows that they provide with the Dragon X9 have 4-inch fletching right now, and as you can see, where they have fletched these arrows is about 1.5 inches away from the nock. And what I immediately discovered is the design of the capture arrow rest kind of grabs those fletching to where it actually, when you go to pull the bow back, the arrow pops off the string rather than get pulled out of there. So I've contacted them. I've indicated that is the case with this, and they're going to correct it. I recommended shortening the distance here of where you're fletching away from the nock, and even shortening the fletch a little bit to a 3-inch instead of a 4-inch fletch. So they're going to be correcting that. If you happen to get one of these before the new correction has come into place, just contact them and they'll work with you to take care of that. So I'm going to be shooting 36 inches away from my chronograph. I do that for all of my speed testing, so there's a consistency throughout all videos. I'm also going to do draw force curves for each draw length at 31 down to 24, and I will show you the results at the end of the video or toward the end after we get the data from the speed shooting. Here we go. Now before I shoot, one other thing that I think should be worth noting here is for the quiver here. In the instructions, they have you mounting this part of the bracket facing down and the sideways horizontal facing bracket up at the top. The problem with that is if you slide it in the bottom, if this is facing down, and then pop this in, if you ever bump this or if it rattles loose, it just falls to the ground. So I contacted them, told them reverse that in the instructions depending on when you get yours, if you're buying one. Mount it like this. So what you then do for installing the quiver is it slides down and then clips in, and then even if the bottom gets bumped out, it's not falling to the ground. So just wanted to note that for installation. People have asked me what's the difference between the Dragon X8 and the Dragon X9. The arrow rest is quite a bit nicer on the X9. Some of the components are just a little bit of an upgrade. So it really comes down to the components. The riser itself has a slightly different design to it than the X8. The overall dimensions of the riser are about the same though. The other key detail I would say is the arrows. The arrows that come with the Dragon X9 are designed for adults. The arrows that come with the Dragon X8 are more intended for young people. This is a 300 spine arrow, which you can shoot at 70 pounds. The arrows that come with the Dragon X8 Pro package are 500 spine arrow, which you really can't shoot. Probably once you get above 40, 45 pounds, maybe 50, you can't really shoot those arrows when your draw weight is higher than that, okay, because there's too much flex in the arrow. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this back, shoot through the chronograph here, and we'll get a speed rating. So right now it's at the 31-inch draw length. It came in just a hair under 31, and the draw weight was at 70.3. I shoot always 36 inches from the chronograph for all of my ratings. It's a very smooth draw, as you can see. 315 feet per second. Okay, I've just set the draw length to 30-inch setting, and I thought of a few things I want to mention here before I actually shoot. One, I did a full video already unboxing and setting up this bow, so it goes over everything that comes in the box. There is a release. There is a bow case, a soft bow case. There is a dozen arrows. The rest, the sight, the bow sling, the stabilizer. So all this comes with the package. And to change the draw length, I'm simply moving the draw module. There's the 1 full inch increment is the outside, these circles on, or holes on the outside of the module here. On the inside goes in the 1/2 inch increment. So if my first time I had it in this hole here for the 31 inch, now I'm at the 30 inch draw length right here. The next one will be 29 and so on. If you wanted 30 and a half, you'd be moving the draw module just a hair differently and putting the screw in the bottom set of screw holes there. So that's how the module slides. So as I said, I'm on the 30 inch draw length setting. It came in just a hair under, so 29 and 5/8 is where it came. And the peak weight goes down as the draw length goes down. Just the design of the module. It's that way for all of these bows that I've ever tested that have this really long draw length adjustability range. So our peak rate hit at just over 69 pounds. So it was barely a pound less. But we're at about 69 pounds, 350 grain arrow. .300 feet per second. All right, so now it's at the 29 inch draw length setting. Came in about just a hair under maybe 28 and 7/8 inch draw length. I did want to mention too, if you notice I have an arrow with no fletching on it, I do all of my bow reviews that way because fletching can have some friction in some arrow rests and slow down the speed ratings. So I try to be consistent no matter what bow, no matter what arrow rest. This is going to have the least amount of friction. I can notice though, let me just pop this off, the bristles are very firm in a brand new rest of this type, and I can feel friction there. So that is going to probably slow down our speed rating a little bit. Just from that, once the arrow rest gets broken in a little bit, it'll actually probably give faster speed ratings. So at the 29 inch draw length setting, it came in at like 68 pounds as the maximum weight. So we've come down about 2 pounds, about 1 pound per inch of draw length for a peak weight. .283 feet per second. All right, now we're at the 28 inch draw length setting. Our peak weight came in at 67 pounds. One thing I've been noticing, now I've noticed now that we've got several inches of draw force data, is that I'm hitting the peak weight right about 16 inches of draw length. We're getting a peak weight and then we're coming down. I'll show you the curve at the end here. So we're going to shoot 28 inch draw length. This is 67 pounds. Again, 350 grain arrow. .268 feet per second. All right, at the 27 inch draw length setting, it came in at 26 and 3/4, just a hair under. And the peak weight was at 65 pounds. Now there is in the owner's manual a chart that shows you peak weight for draw length. And I haven't even looked at that closely, so I'm not sure how these numbers are going to compare with theirs. I'm just sharing with you what I got. I do want to mention this, and I've seen this with pretty much every brand of bow that I've done this type of testing on, where you have a long draw length range. Depending on the draw length that you're moving it to, it does impact the draw stop timing. So in a sense, let's say you buy one of these and you want to set it at the 26 inch draw length setting, you may need to adjust the draw stop timing a little bit. I have tuning videos on that. I'll just mention that in order to adjust the draw stop timing, you're going to add twist to one of the cables. I also have an archery book, Become a Better Archer and Use It to Avoid Sinning. I go over all of the tuning steps in that as well. So that would be a great resource to you if you're new at archery. I'll also mention these bows have a very smooth draw cycle. That's why we see a fairly large drop in arrow speed from 1 inch of draw length to the next, is because these hit the peak weight and then it comes right off and just gradually goes into the end. So if you're looking for a bow that is very gentle on the shoulder, this is the cam, this is the bow you would want. If you want a higher speed bow, you're going to need a more aggressive cam than this, where it really holds that peak weight for a long time. Most of your flagship bows are designed that way, to hold the peak weight up a long time. This is designed for complete comfort, so if I really took my time to draw like that, you can see it's very smooth. There's a lot of cams that are not that smooth. So this is 253 feet per second for the 27-inch draw length setting. And again, the total weight came in at 65 pounds on that one. All right, at the 26-inch draw length setting, this bow is measuring 25 3/4. Now, it's very easy to compensate and get the actual draw length. It just is a matter of removing a little twist from the string. When a bow is brand new, the string and cables have not fully stretched yet. So after you shoot the bow about 100 times, you're going to probably do some tweaking anyway, because the string and cables will stretch a little bit, so you'll add a little twist to get them back into specification. So there's a little variation there with any compound bow. At the 26-inch draw length setting, I think our peak weight was 62 pounds. So this is a 350 grain arrow, 62 pounds. I will also mention that another reason why we're seeing these drops in speed is we're not shooting 5 grains per pound anymore. At 62 pounds, we would be shooting less than a 350 grain arrow if we were shooting 5 grains per pound. But I'm just showing you what you can expect with the same arrow, because you're going to be using the same arrow. At what will that do at different draw lengths? So 240 feet per second, and as you can see, it's a very smooth drawing bow. You may be wondering, can you hunt big game animals with this? Absolutely. I have many people who watch my channel who have been hunting with the Dragon X8, which is very similar to this in every respect. Some different design here, but overall characteristics as far as specifications, draw length, axle to axle length, those types of things, draw weight, and they've been shooting big game animals, deer, elk, things like that. So it is usable for big game animals. Okay, at the 25-inch draw length setting, it came in at like 24 5/8, I believe, something around there. And the peak weight was 59.9 pounds, so essentially 60 pounds. So again, this is a 350 grain arrow at those specifications. If you're wondering, I'm using a different release than what comes with the bow. I use this same release with all of my review videos. It is a unique one that's triggered by the thumb. So if you don't see my finger moving, it's because it's a thumb activated. And 227 feet per second. All right, at the 24-inch draw length setting, came in at 23 3/4. The peak weight that we got was 50, I think it was 57 pounds, something like that. Last time was 59.9. And the draw length, like I said, was 23 3/4. 213 feet per second. All right, I got my laptop here with all my data. I'm just going to kind of go over the chart with you that you're going to see. I'm just going to pull this up on the screen for you right now. So you can look at this, pause it, and look at it more carefully. What we have on the top left is basically the data. The brace height, 6.5 inches. ATA, which is axle to axle, that's 30 inches. Draw length range goes from 18 inches to 31. Draw weight goes from 0 pounds to 70. I will say on that you can loosen the limb bolts far enough to actually take the string and cables off without needing a bow press. So that enables you to work on the bow regardless if you have a bow press or not. So the advertised speed is 310 feet per second. My rating that I came in at for the 31-inch draw length was 315 feet per second. The mass weight, which is the total weight of the bow, with everything you see here, with all these arrows in the quiver, all this I weighed it with my scale was 4.8 pounds. All this, 4.8 pounds. So if you take the quiver off, with all those arrows off, it's be even lighter. So then there's a draw length measurement, shows you what I got. All the arrow weight was 350 grains for all of them. The speeds shows you here what I read off. You can pause that if you want to look at that. And then moving over to the right, it has the draw length and the corresponding draw weight. And then down closer to the bottom is the draw force curves for each of the draw lengths. And you can see with the longer draw lengths, there's more of let's say a hump at the end of the draw curve. It kind of holds that peak weight longer because you're drawing for a longer period of time. And that's partly how the longer draw lengths have, shoot the bow at a faster speed. Not only is the string acting on the arrow for a longer period of time, but you have more force going into it from the cam. So those are the draw force curves. Again, you can pause that and look at that. And I want to thank you for tuning into this video. If you want to learn how to tune it, I've got videos for the Dragon X8. It's the same kind of tuning. Maybe I'll even do one for this at some point. But it's the same thing. Same cam system, same overall everything. So also, like I mentioned in my book, Become a Better Archer and Use It to Avoid Sinning, I talk about how to tune this kind of bow in there as well. So I hope this has helped. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope you'll stay tuned for future videos. Until next time, take care, and God bless.